Hello everybody and welcome back to I Was the Teenage Exocolonist. So, last time we finished up our Taming run and it was probably the sweetest run we're ever gonna do, which is why we're going to do the exact opposite this time. We are finishing up the special endings for Dees and also getting a few more endings involving Dees. But, to do that, I am going to do a special kind of run that I like to call the Tragedy Run. Now you may be wondering, what's the Tragedy Run, Yabby, and should I be worried? The answer to the first question I will explain, the answer to the second is yes! Basically for this run, considering that Dees is the most sad character, he's always going through something and people are always so mean to him, we're going to make this as sad as possible because the two endings that we're missing are ones where we leave the colony. So why would Yabby leave the colony? Only if things were really, really bad. So everyone's gonna die, we're not gonna save anyone, we're gonna rebel as much as possible, we're just here to have a bad time until we escape with Dees. And my plan for this run is, it's only gonna be 3 episodes, 1 through childhood, 1 through teenagehood, and then the last through adulthood where we're gonna get all the endings. There may be a few good endings that I'll also try and get, but that is dependent on if I have the energy to, or if I'll save that for a different run, because we still have 3 other characters we can romance. So for now, we'll just start with the intention of being as rebellious and as sad as possible. So let's get started. Now we want to get outside as fast as possible, so I'm going to go for something that will get us outside. Let's go with toughness. We either need 20 toughness or 20 bravery, I believe. You kick that ball up and down the corridors all day. You want to play with Calm and the other older kids, but Security Chief Rhett says you should wait a few years. He seems nice. You don't understand why the older kids are scared of him. Alright, now what about dreams? Stories from your dreams, ship engineering manuals. Nope, we're not helping with that this time. Let's do stories from your dreams. You've always been weird that way. You beg him to tell you stories about aliens called gardeners and insist that they're real people you've met, or will meet, or something. They're from your dreams, but it seems so real. It's more like remembering. It's hard to explain. Your family doesn't understand, but your dad is happy to make believe. Together, you make up new adventures for the gardeners every night. Alright, and for our skill, I'm gonna go with Calm Temperament. Or wait. I think I'm actually gonna go for Eagle Eyes, because this will help us with perception, and since we're going to be exploring a lot, we're gonna need it. And that'll help us get to bravery even faster. Oh yeah, look at that. Toughness is 10 already. Your eyes have both eagle and owl DNA, so you have superhuman long distance and night vision. Not only can you see all the way to the holoprojector from the back of the classroom, but you can read Professor Hal's private holopalm notes. Sometimes they say confidential, which is exciting, but you don't understand most of the big words. The other kids think you're a little weird, except quiet and mysterious Dees. Dees loves to find places on the ship that nobody else knows about. He's smaller than the other kids, so he can get up into the bulkheads. You know where he likes to go when he wants to be alone. The lights are dimmed for the night cycle when you realize that you don't see Dees at dinner, or at the Crush Holovid night. Antecedent must have realized it too. She's constantly checking her holopalm and anxiously typing messages. The light is distracting you from the holovid. Dees' sister Tangent is not worried. She says he always does this. You know that's true, but skipping dinner? Maybe something's wrong. I'm gonna go find him. You find him curled up in the empty storage closet beside the compost nutrient extraction room. It actually smells really nice, like freshly crushed tomato leaves. He grudgingly agrees to come back to the creche. Something must have happened to make him quieter than usual, but he doesn't want to talk about it. Alright, and let's see. I'm gonna do as he says. Just this once, because after this, we're not helping anyone. Try to be brave for the others. Ooh. Sometimes you pretend to be confident so the people around you will be less scared. You look over at your classmate Tang and realize she's doing the same thing. She gives you a hard smile. You return it and keep focusing on your breathing. The wormhole. As you slip unconscious, you feel yourself twisted out of time. It's today, yesterday, and tomorrow all at once. And more than just one tomorrow. Lots of them. Different tomorrows. Oh no! You find yourself in a place you know from your worst nightmares. A hollow emptiness claws inside of you, eating away at your body, weightless except for the heavy burden of hunger. Like a chewed-up peach pit sitting in your stomach, you float above barren fields littered with emaciated bodies. Your mother is digging in the fields. No, she's digging a hole, a mass grave. Her eyes turn to you as you float overhead, but her face is unrecognizable. Oh god, and we're gonna let that happen this time! What's my birthday? Alright, we're also going to be probably as odd as possible. Or, we're going to be as concerning as possible, I think. So I'm going to tell him what I know what's in it. You describe the medallion and your dad tisks as he hands you the package. Aw, who ruined the surprise? Was it Seek? I'll bet it was Seek. They hate fun. He grins and adds, don't tell them I said that. I'm going to tell them you said that. You start to explain that nobody told you, but someone shouts your dad's name. Listen, I'm so sorry, Abby, he says, but I have to get back to work. There was an accident when we landed and... He stops himself. Don't worry, we're going to fix it, your mother and I. Well, I know you don't, and I'm certainly not helping. I'm going to give you a thumbs up. Dees! You see Dees sitting on the ground beside some bushes. Is he hiding from somebody? He seems to be watching the gate in the wall to the south where grown-ups are coming and going. Kids aren't allowed past the walls, he says quietly without looking up. They say there's nothing to be afraid of, but then why do we need walls? You stare at the gate and have a sudden rush of memory so strong that you think you might faint. You imagine something crashing through the wall, something enormous and dark and wriggly. For years in space you've had half-remembered nightmares of monsters, of your ship being destroyed, of shifting through the wreckage that used to be your home, trying to find something. Your dad always told you the dreams weren't real. Breaking from your daydream, Dees whispers, I think there are monsters out there. I believe you. No, you don't, he says. You're being sarcastic, I could tell. Nobody believes me. He turns his back and ignores you. I'll leave him alone. Well, you tried. Dees is so sensitive about being teased. Yeah, I can't do the other one, because even though we do know there's monsters out there, if you say that, he thinks you're just making fun of him. I learned that the hard way on our first run. Your mom watches you as she works a pebble out of her gardening tiller, which also serves as a crutch. How have you been holding up? School's boring! Your mom gives you the look. Yabby, things are different now that we've landed. You won't be a kid for much longer. You have to start thinking about the future, and that future starts with good education. Your dad gives a more sympathetic smile. You just have to find a subject you like. And you know, Professor Hal will give you kudos if you get good grades. You can spend those at the depot once it's open. We will do engineering, but that's just because that'll help us with Dees, but that's it. Alright, I'm gonna work on getting our bravery up, because our toughness and our bravery are like at the same point, so it shouldn't take long for either one. There we go, I'm there already. Oh, Dees! Dees is sitting in the grass near the big gates that lead out to the jungle. He's just staring out into nothingness and picking absent-mindedly at the weeds. He pretends not to notice as you approach. I'm gonna sit down with him. He shifts uncomfortably as you sit, but doesn't say anything. You both just hang out, saying and doing nothing. You stare out at the big gates. The grass in the colony is trimmed short by garden bots, but out there it's wild and as high as your waist. Head Surveyor Tonin is prepping his equipment for an outing. He's bringing a lot. Maybe he's going to stay out overnight. You're starting to wonder if Dees will ever acknowledge you when he says, I've gotta go. As he starts down the hill, he pauses and says, This is a good spot. I'll probably come back here tomorrow. Friendship. You step cautiously through the colony gates. Hey there, kiddo! Uncle Tonin blocks your way with a smile. I'm afraid expeditions is off limits for now. It's not safe out there for kids. You better toughen up so you can join the squads when you're older. I'm tough enough. Well, so you are, Uncle Tonin exclaims, standing back to admire you with pride. You know, I'd say you might be having a growth spurt, Yabby. They'd better watch out for you on the sports ball field. Listen, he tells you, I can see that you're a tough cookie, and I'd love to have you on my surveyor team in the future. But you'll have to wait a few more years first. Come see me when you're older, okay, kiddo? Dejected, you drag your feet as you walk back through the gates to safety. Psst! What's that? You look around questioningly. Psst! It's Dees. He's hiding behind some bushes? That's so typical. He puts a finger to his lips and motions for you to follow him. Sure, you figure. Why not? He leads you silently along the walls towards the garrison, then crouches down in the bushes between the sports ball field and the security pavilion to fiddle with something. Suddenly, he's gone. What? You check to make sure nobody else noticed, then scuttle over to where you last saw him. Behind some popflower bushes, there's a drainage pipe in the wall big enough to crawl through. A heavy grate keeps animals out, but it's loose. You can slide it aside to get through. You could sneak out. If the adults won't let you visit the Valley of Vertigo or the subaqueous swamps or the other cool places surveyors get to go to, well, you could sneak through here to explore just outside the colony walls. If Deese does it, how dangerous could it be? Exactly. We're gonna go out and be with our buddy. We shouldn't forget our studies just because we've landed, Tangent says primely. I want to explore the jungle. Yabby's right, you hear over your shoulder, and you startle to find Deese standing right behind you. Ah! When did he get here? Did you see those huge beasts in the jungle as we were landing? Deese continues, picking at a thread on his sweater until it unravels. I wonder if there are more out there. Alright, I am going to forget the dreams, get that candy. I'm sorry, Tammy, this is the last time, I promise. You can't quite shake the dream for your head, but it was just a dream. It wasn't real. You repeat this to yourself as you walk towards the cafeteria. You can't let your life be determined by the stuff your brain makes up when you go to sleep. You have to stick to the here and now. Tammy's fine. Your she'll be fine. Now to get that candy. In the cafeteria, Auntie Seaton is cheerfully handing out masses of pink candy, puffy and soft like clouds. Oh, Yabby, she says, handing you a wand with some candy spun around the end. Here, try some of this. We used to have it on Earth. You pull off a piece and give it a taste. It's so sweet at first that your mouth puckers. You've never tasted anything so sweet and so real. It's not at all like soy sweets that the kitchen nanoprinter can make. It melts in your mouth, leaving a gritty residue on your tongue. You wait until everyone is gone, but Tammy never shows up. You look down at the cotton candy in your hands. It's wilted a little from the humidity, but it's kind of like her hair, you think. Pale, pink, and so soft. You keep some to give it to her later. You're relaxing in your family quarters after dinner. Your mom had to run off on some kind of council business, so you and your dad are playing a holo game together. When you're just about ready to head off for bed, your mom returns. You can tell from the defeated slant of her shoulders that something has gone terribly wrong. Your dad starts to ask what's happened, but she waves him away and approaches you. She sits down and takes your hand, holding it between her two strong, dirt-creased ones. Yabby, I'm so sorry to have to tell you this, she starts. Her mouth quivers as she swallows, working on her next words. There was an accident this afternoon, in the creche. Your classmate, Tammy, has died. You try to understand her words. Tammy? Dead? That's not possible. You suddenly remember the cotton candy you were saving to give Tammy, pink and fluffy, just like her hair. You put your hand in your pocket to get it, but what comes out is a sticky, dark red lump of hard goo. You stare at it, your mind blank. Tell her it was your fault. You hiccup through an explanation about how you knew it was going to happen, and if you'd only... Oh, no, sweetie, your mom interrupts you, putting her arms around you. They said it was an electric shock from a broken holoprojector. It was nobody's fault, not yours or anybody's. You're crying too hard to say, but it was. It was. You knew. You've had dreams about this happening on and off for months. You thought they were just dreams, but they were always the same. Tammy's in the creche alone when she gets attacked by a beast made of light. She dies, and outside, the world turns pink, just like cotton candy. You don't know why this is happening to you. This is a curse. The colony is going to hold a funeral for Tammy. Do you want to attend? If you don't feel up to it, you could just skip it and take the month off instead, or you could get back to work. No, I want to grieve by myself. You can't bring yourself to attend Tammy's funeral, but the prospect of just going back to school like everything is normal is too much to handle. You end up spending a whole month alternating between sleeping, scrolling the HoloNet, and staring into space. It's restful, at least, and even your parents understand that you just need time to process Tammy's death. You hear from the others that the funeral service was beautiful, just like how you used to do it in space. Tammy's body got put into the colony recycler, and all the stuff that got ground up to be added into the colony's fields. That way, she'll never really be gone. Tammy, the first human to be buried in alien soil, the first colonist to truly become one with your new home. Ooh, your mom looks annoyed. Yabby, she began with a sigh. I know we said you're mature enough to decide your own schedule now, but don't prove us wrong. If I found out you've just been playing holo games in our quarters all day, I swear. But I am! I spoke with your teacher, she speaks over you, raising her hand. Hal wants to see you in class more often, Yabby. You can pick any subject, but I want you to study hard and try your best to excel at whatever you decide to do. This colony is too small to support layabouts and freeloaders. You try to swallow your frustration. Nothing good ever comes from arguing with your mom. You slip through the colony gates, feeling the breeze of the mushroom forest ruffle your hair. You look around for Dees, but he's nowhere to be seen. Maybe he went to class today? Probably not. You're just about to return to the colony when you hear what sounds like crying coming from one of the expedition vehicles. You pull back the tarp that keeps it from being blanketed with fungal spores and find Dees curled up in the cabin. He wipes his eyes and turns away. "Go away," he mutters. "You okay?" "I'm fine," Dees sniffles. "Just leave me alone." "I don't have enough persuasion. Do you want to talk about it?" "Why don't you go ask my sister?" he mumbles. "Tang is so mature. She knows everything. I'm just a sensitive crybaby who doesn't know anything." Dees wraps his arms around his legs and hides his face in his knees. "I hate her," he mutters. "Everyone thinks she's so smart, but she's just a big meaty. I hate everyone here. I hate being here. I just want to be left alone." He rubs his nose on his sleeve. "Except for you, I guess. Sometimes it feels like you're the only person who's ever tried to be my friend." "Yabby," Tangent says, approaching you with a purpose, "we need to discuss my brother." "You mean my buddy Dees? Dish." Yes, Dees," she says impatiently. "I need you to figure out where he's been disappearing. Ever since we landed, I barely see him anymore. He doesn't even come home at night sometimes, and She trails off and looks at her feet. "Well, I'm not on very good terms with my brother of late. People are becoming worried." You get the feeling that Tang is the one who's worried, but she doesn't want to admit it. That's his own business. You tell Tangent that if Dees wanted her to know where he was going, he'd tell her himself. She gives you a complicated look. She's clearly worried about her brother and frustrated that she showed this weakness to you. She composes herself with a blank face. "Maybe you're right," she says neutrally. "I'm just being mean to everyone, except Dees." "Dees!" You slip through the drain pipe and out of the colony before anyone saw you. Anyone, that is, except for a dark form watching you from the trees nearby. Could that be? Is it Dees? He turns and disappears into the jungle. Now you're sure of it. That was definitely Dees. He's not allowed outside the colony either. Follow him. You scamper through the bushes after him, heedless of the branches and brambles scraping at your arms and legs. Without a proper envirosuit, you get all scratched up. That kid is fast! You quickly lose sight of Dees and can't find his trail again, but you do learn something by trying. Alright, into the expeditions we go. I'm not going to read everything again, just know that most of the time, we're expeditioning? One of the two. You spot Dees sitting in a clearing, but not before he sees you first. Instead of sneaking away as usual, he stays still as you approach, like it's totally natural that he'd be sitting in the middle of a jungle so far away from the colony walls. Now that you think about it, you're a little glad to see him. You are so far away that you can't see the walls anymore, and it's really weird out here, and it's getting late. Dees stares unblinkingly at you as you approach. "Hi, Yabby," is all he says. "Hi, Dees." He seems to be in a good mood, something you see very rarely. "Did you see Utopia out there?" Dees asks. "Chief Surveyor Tonin is easy to sneak past, but Utopia has, X-ray vision eyes or something. She'll catch you for sure if you get too close. She caught me once and I got in big trouble. How about I show you something cool and sneaking out will be our secret, okay?" He jumps up and walks a little ways into the trees. You follow. Just a few minutes away, the ground drops off and a large stone outcropping juts out over a cliff face. Dees walks right to the edge without slowing. It's a long way down. "Come on," he says. "Try to be brave. We will be brave." You bravely step out onto the rock and walk out to the edge with Dees. You both sit down, feet dangling over the precipice, and look out at the amazing view. It's incredible. You snap a picture with your holopalm, but you won't share it on the net. This is your secret, yours and Dees's. My best friend. Vertumnalia. Yawn. Now, I know that Dees is in the talent show this year. I remember finding out by accident, but I don't have creativity, so we're just gonna say competition's dumb. There's no way you'd be caught dead competing in any of these totally null-headed events. You're 10, not a child. Anemone wins the strength competition, Mars wins the talent competition, and Tangent wins the science fair. Totally predictable. Yawn. It's a good thing you didn't waste your energy competing. But I still feel happy. Hoo-hoo. You crawl through the big drainage pipe behind the sports ball pitch, carefully sliding the metal grate back into place behind you, and then carefully check the coast is clear. Good thing, too, because Uncle Tonin is passing by on his way to the garrison. You curl up in the shadows and wait for him to leave. That was close. It's the first time I haven't gotten caught in a while. Okay, but you do stink, you hear Mars defend herself. It's not my fault that you can't tell. Maybe your nose stopped working, but the rest of us can smell it, and... She waves her hand in front of her nose and makes a P-U gesture, then turns to you. He smells awful, right, Yabby? Stop being so mean, Mars. You stand toe-to-toe with Mars. She glares at you, and then at Dees. Ugh, fine, she says, defeated. I'm sorry, Dees. I'm just trying to help, but I should have said it in a nicer way. Not everyone in life is going to tell you the truth, you know. Get out of here, Mars. I'm not your friend this run. Dees is sitting on the bed of one of the expedition vehicles, tinkering with a bit of tech. He tries to hide it when he sees you, but it's in so many pieces that he only manages to shove some of it behind him before he gives up and glares at you mistrustfully. What do you want? What are you doing? Dees squints at you. Promise you won't tell on me, he says. Promise! They weren't using it, he starts, already sounding defensive, as he turns the biggest piece of the device over in his hands. It was just sitting there in command, so when they weren't looking, I took it. I took it and no one noticed. He seems excited by this fact. I think it's part of a communication device. Oh, I should have had engineering 10. Dang it, I have engineering 0. I think it's part of a communication device, he says thoughtfully, so I'm trying to figure out how it works. I want to talk to the aliens. Just be careful, okay? Dees nods and fiddles with the device. Who cares, he says. People on Earth used to do stuff like this, thinking that it could pick up the voices of ghosts, Dees says. But it was probably just radio waves. So I figure if I'm looking for radio waves, aliens have to exist, he continues, quietly but with great conviction. They have to. You can't just have this much life on a planet without some of it being smart like we are. He sighs. I just want to talk to them, he says. Maybe I'd fit in more with aliens than I do here. Anything is possible. Dees nods and looks outward into the mushroom forest. I know you're just trying to be nice, he says quietly. Even if you don't think we're really alone out here and you're just lying to make me feel better, it's still nice. I know there's aliens out there. I've dated one of them in a past life. Actually, we both dated him at the same time. Dare you to eat this worm? Oh yeah, Dees counters. Well, I double dare you to eat this worm. You can't turn down a double dare. You're no meek little hop-eye. Very slimy, unsatisfying, very, very gross. Dees eats his like a noodle, slurping it up and wrinkling his nose as it wriggles in his mouth. Yuck, he says, swallowing it whole, then shows you his empty mouth. You should have known better than to dare a person who fears nothing. Alright, here we go. I am gonna go out, at least for now, because this will give us more bravery, and I want bravery. We're gonna go to command, because we can snatch the rifle. You lunge for the gun. It's not an elegant move, but you manage to catch it. As if by instinct, you raise it to the creature's head, and BAM! You shoot it right between the eyes. The monster rears up, spraying everyone with glowing blue blood, then flops down hard on the ground, dead. Governor Udicott emerges from the bridge looking shaken and very, very old. Chief Administrator Seek helps her down the stairs and gives you a grateful look as they pass. Later that day, you find 25 kudos in your account, a reward for your bravery. Your parents are angry, as you knew they would be, but hey, everything worked out, right? After 2 weeks of darkness with the blue sun barely skimming the horizon, it begins to move higher in the sky, and daytime returns. Alright, age 11. Your mom gives you a stern look, and I know your friend Dees has been sneaking outside the walls, she says grimly. If I catch you doing that, I'm going to put a chip in your ear. You laugh. What a good joke. Your mom doesn't laugh. It's probably not that dangerous. Not that you would ever do it, but if the other kids are out there, how bad could it be? This argument does not win you any favors with your mother. I'll do what I want. I say that now that I'm away from my mother. It's not like I'm scared of her or anything. No. Dees! The second sun is beginning to set, and you're planning your route back to the gates when you spot Dees in the distance. He waves you over. Hi, Abby, he says gloomily. He sighs. I wish we didn't have to go home. I wish we could stay out here forever. Yeah, me too. What if, he begins, what if we didn't go home? Today, I mean. What if we stayed out and camped overnight? He gestures to the pack on his back. I brought a tent, just in case, and a perimeter sensor, and I found a spot right near the depot that looks safe. Yes, camp out, camp out! Dee sets up the tent while you place the perimeter posts around the edge of the clearing. If anything trips this invisible wall around your campsite, at least you'll know about it. Without even saying goodnight, Dees crawls into the tent, takes off his jacket and stuffs it behind his head, then curls up in a ball facing the wall. He falls asleep almost immediately. You crawl in beside him and pull the thermal blanket over yourself. You're exhausted from a long day of hiking in the jungle, so despite the excitement of being out in the wild at night, you quickly fall asleep as well. You both wake up to a blaring alarm and bright lights filling the campsite. It's the perimeter alert. Something must have triggered it. Dee sits bolt upright and looks at you with wide eyes. Should you go out there to check? Work up the courage to look outside. You both carefully open the door and peek out through a crack. Nothing. Whatever it was, the lights and noise must have scared it off. The sun is almost up, and you are definitely not getting back to sleep after that, so the two of you eat soy rations and quietly watch the sunrise over the jungle together. When the surveyors open the gates and start prepping for the day, you pack up your gear and go home. You expect the worst, but nobody even noticed you were gone. You left the privacy curtain on your bed closed, and your parents must have come in late and left early, thinking you were asleep there the whole time. You're lucky, but it also makes you feel a little sad. Yes, more Dees. You find Dees sitting in the mouth of one of the walls of drainage sewers. In wet season, excess rainwater is diverted out here so it doesn't flood inside the walls. In the meantime, it looks like Dees has set up a little base here, with pillows and a stash of snacks. His alien communication device hisses with static. He looks up from his holoscreen as you pop your head inside the drain. Hello, Yappy, he says quietly, before going back to the game he'd been playing. What are you playing? You haven't heard of it, he says, without looking up. I made it myself. You squeeze into the narrow drain and sit down next to Dees. On his holopad is a picture of Mars, and you watch him drag a match from the sidebar and drop it on her face. Little animated flames wriggle over the picture, leaving parts of it looking charred. It's pretty crude, but you think you get the point. Where'd you learn how to do that? It's pretty simple, Dees says. The light from his holoscreen reflects in his eyes, and he looks at you in the gloom. People on Earth used to make this kind of stuff all the time, and I have a lot of time to learn new things. What happened with Mars? Dees shrugs. Same thing that always happens, he says. He resets the game, then drags a bomb from the sidebar onto the picture of Mars. It explodes, and the picture disintegrates. She booked my name down for every appointment with the nanoprinter because she thinks my clothes are always torn up and dirty all the time, he continues. So I got in trouble for wasting resources. I tried to tell him it was her, but Mars never gets in trouble. Everyone likes her, he mumbles. But it's fine. I don't need anyone to like me. I don't care if they hate me. I hate them. Oh, I see. Dees goes back to playing his game, content not to talk to you. I want to try. Sure, Dees replies. He links his holopalm to yours and feels the haptics pulse as the game files transfer. You open the game and are presented with an option. Whose picture do you choose? Mars, definitely Mars. You load up the picture of Mars. Screw her. She's so bossy and mean. Dees is right, she's the worst. You drag a knife from the toolbox onto the picture. Thwunk right into the face. It feels good. In a weird way. You probably shouldn't think about that too hard. You spend a few hours letting off steam with Dees, loading different pictures of your classmates and commiserating about life in the colony. After a while, he even starts to smile a bit. I don't really want to hurt anyone, Dees confides in you. Sometimes it feels like I have so many angry thoughts inside my head that there's no room for anything else. He turns off his holopalm and looks down at his hands. Even if it makes me feel kind of gross after, it's better than feeling numb. Poor kiddo. He's only like 11 and he feels this way. It sucks. Oh, it's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. No, you dummy, Mars starts, then pauses and gives you a suspicious look. Wait, what did you say? Well, anyway. Today, she announces to the room, is Saint Valentine's Day. Dees and Cal wander over to hear more. Back on Earth, Mars explains, it was a day when everybody had to give their best friend a gift, especially sweets. And then you put the sweets under your pillow and it makes you dream about who you're going to marry. And there are decorations of hearts and arrows and pigs. Cal laughs. Pigs? We don't even have pigs here. Before Mars can answer, Dees snorts, this is dumb. Marzipan just made it up to get free candy. He rolls his eyes and walks away. As he leaves, Mars shouts at his back, well, nobody was gonna pick you anyway. You stink. I think it's dumb too. Mars rolls her eyes. Then go cry under a tree with that smelly nullhead Dees. The rest of us will have friends and candy. Yeah, I will. Maybe I will. You find Dees watching the jungle through a gap in the fence, kicking the dirt with his toe. He's quiet when you walk up. He must be in one of his moods. Watch with him. You sit and watch the jungle with him for a while. You ask if he sneaks out there often. Dees nods quietly. A few times, yeah. There's a way through behind the garrison building. You sit in silence again for a long while until he breaks it by saying, it's really nice out there. Want to be best friends to annoy Mars? You explain that of course you aren't taking it seriously, you just think it would be funny. He looks back at you and shrugs. Sure, I guess, he says, then looks back out at the forest. It is kind of funny. It's a stupid thing anyway. What do you have to say about that, Mars? I'm sorry, you'll be the next run, I promise. Mars is in a huff. Ah, because you didn't pick her for Valentine's Day? Huh, seems like nobody picked her. She crosses her arms and scowls at you. I can't believe you chose Dees over me. Whatever, Mars mutters, tossing her hair. I'm just too mature for kids my age. The older kids get me, even if you don't. Virtunalia again. Ah, and the depot's open too. I'm gonna go eat instead. Vertumna games? No thank you. You'll just enjoy the feast and let everyone else make fools of themselves. There we go. Oh, and we unlocked relaxing the walls on the garrison. Perfect. Now we can avoid everyone even more. Dare you to go into a restricted area. You dare Dees to explore the creepiest, darkest part of engineering, deep down where even Chief Engineer Instance never goes, under the recycling room where they say there are ghosts. You set the mood, then sneak around behind him, put your hollow palm flashlight under your face and shout, boo! He rolls his eyes. Yabby, think about it. If there were ghosts on this spaceship, one of them would be my mom. Oh, yeah, you guess that would scare a normal person, but Dees still isn't scared of anything. Friendship! There's a commotion in the square. An expedition vehicle has driven through the gates and is idling in the middle of the square. An unusual sight. People come down from the command to investigate. Utopia gets out of the vehicle and trudges over to Uticott. After a brief conversation, you see Uticott gesture for people to unload the vehicle and clear the area. You stay out of the way to see what they're unloading. It's a body. Chief Surveyor Tonin's body. Someone quickly covers him up with a sheet, but not before the image of his torn open body is seared into your memory. However he died, it was violent and bloody. You feel your stomach cramp with nausea. What happened? Dees asks, coming over to crouch around the corner with you. You share that Uncle Tonin is dead, and he stares at the sheet-covered body intensely, as if he could see through it. Did they say how? They never tell us the truth anyway. Nobody will tell the kids what really happened. Did something eat him? Did he get lost or fall off a cliff? Do they even know? Dees nods, frowning. They don't want us to know about the monsters, or other worse stuff. They want us to think everything is fine, but it's not. This planet isn't as nice as they say it is. He shakes his head. They hate that they can't control us. You and Dees watch the adults carry Uncle Tonin's body away. From the way he's practically vibrating, you can tell Dees wants to ask a few more questions about what happened. After a few awkward minutes, he sneaks away without saying anything, probably to try and go take a look at the body. At least Tammy isn't around to see this, you think. At least they're together now, wherever people go when they die. You watch Utopia bend over to get a hug from Uticott, wiping her eyes as she finally cries. Uticott has never been the most comforting presence in your life, but it does seem to help. Utopia will probably be the next chief surveyor. At 24, she'll be the youngest council member. She was only a toddler when the stratosphere left Earth. Apparently, her sharp eye and hoverbike flying skills are the best in expeditions. Another tragedy! Alright, this time I'm actually gonna head for the gates, because I don't think I've ever actually gone to the gates when Hal was around. Oh! Try to stay hidden and watch. You sneak out of the living quarters and head towards the gate. You're immediately spotted by Security Chief Red, who stops what he's doing to yell at you and gesture angrily. What the hell are you doing out here? This is no place for kids. Get your ass back inside. I'm gonna help. I know you didn't want my help, but I'm gonna help. With my 0 combat, I'm gonna help. I'm sure I know what I'm doing. Not the most graceful of victories, but it worked. You stick around outside of the skirmish at the gates, throwing rocks and yelling at any creature that gets too close. Oh no, I have seen this one before. You're not sure it makes a difference, but the good news is at least you're not injured. When the dust clears, Rhett spots you hiding in the shadows and personally escorts you back to your quarters, where your mom and dad penalize you for disobeying them. Oh no, 5 kudos, whatever will I do? Oh, Professor Hal's dead. Roll over and go back to sleep. You don't need to hear anymore. Listening to them only makes you feel guilty that you knew. You knew he was going to die, and you didn't do anything about it. I really didn't. Alright, year 12. What mischief can we get into now? After the first attack on the colony, they added lookout towers to the walls. Now you have a place to hang out if you don't feel like working. Because it's all the way up here, no adults are going to come ask you to run any errands for them. On rainy days, you take shelter under the pavilions and listen to the pitter-patter of worn raindrops on the grass roof. You can do whatever you want. Ah, this is the life. It's a perfect place to slack off. Perfect place to catch up on holovids you've been meaning to watch, and to chat with your friends on the colony's social media. Oh, hey Abby. Deese pops his head up on a nearby ladder and looks surprised to see someone else here. Do you mind if I sit here too? Sure, there's plenty of room. The two of you dangle your feet off the side and watch the valley below. Deese shuffles a little uncomfortably and doesn't say much. You wonder if this was his private spot to be left alone before you discovered it. Maybe. Ah, here we are, our first pet. You hear a sad hiccuping and sound and follow it to find a sick Hopeye. It's hunched down low, its foot completely nestled under its body and shivering uncomfortably. Its enormous eyes roll around in confusion and fear as you approach. Take it home with you. You are my pet now. The Hopeye hisses and tries to bite you. It doesn't want to be touched. You throw your jacket over it, then carefully pick it up and put it in your pack. You crack the zipper to give it a bit of some fresh air. Your dad helps you make a little nest for it in an empty part of the geophonics barn. Every day you bring it food and water and gradually nurse it back to health. Cal takes an active interest in the recuperation. Utopia says that Hopeyes don't really have a gender, he says as you're washing out the pen together. Or maybe she said they're both, and they're really social. So what are you gonna name them, he asks. Something else. I'm going to name you. Root. Cal offers the Hopeye a piece of bobber fruit. Cute! Root plucks the fruit from Cal's hand and hops into your lap to snuggle down and nibble on it. Cal snaps a photo with his holopalm and shares it, captioning, "Friends for life, aww." I'm gonna add that on right away because it lowers our stress. Yeah! Let's see. You know what? I'm not even gonna watch this year. Virtunali games? Ugh, you're not a kid anymore. Everyone has fun without you while you pick at the feast table. Alright, I'm leaving. I'm going to get my pet. I want my Vricky. Tame it! You win it over by reading its body language and slowly building trust. It seems to want to join you, and you hope you'll be allowed to keep it. You look the species up on your holopalm and learn that Vricky, so named for the trills they make, which yours is making now cuddling against your leg, are neither male or female, though they do require a mate to reproduce. So it's a they then. You decide to name them... Tree. Root and Tree. Okay, Tree it is. They blink every one of their beady black eyes up at you, none of them in unison. They seem to have no problem with this name. It isn't long before the sirens turn off, ringing 3 short pulses as the all-clear message flashes on your holopalm. Another pet for my collection. Alright, year 13. Ooh. I can take care of myself. You're brave, but you aren't stupid. You assure them that you'll stay out of trouble. Your dad's shoulders sag as he shakes his head. You barely even know what's out there, kiddo. You don't know what I know. Your mom's fierce expression softens. Hey, Yabby, sorry, it's your birthday today. And here we are arguing like a pair of assholes. Happy birthday. They both give you a hug. Ah, we can explore. Survey time. Oh no. You're getting ready to leave your quarters one day when you're stopped by your mom, who hasn't left for work yet. She's always been an early riser, out into the fields before first sunrise. That she specifically stayed home to talk to you is a bad sign. Sit down, Yabby, she says. We have to talk. I don't want to talk to you. Your mom purses her lips. Don't think you're too old to listen to your mother, child, she says evenly. You will sit down, and you're going to be grateful we're having a conversation and not a punishment. You sit down across from your mother. She stares you down, just looking, right into your soul, like she's counting up every bad thing you've ever done. I don't think you appreciate how much I know about you, she says finally. With the amount of freedom you kids have, you forget that you're being watched. I don't like what I'm seeing. And your attitude, she spits, is absolutely atrocious. I know you're a teenager and you're supposed to push boundaries, but this is ridiculous. You're ridiculous. No, you're ridiculous! She bangs her fist on the table for emphasis. This isn't some Holovid high school drama, Yabby. This is real life. This is life or death. Do you get what I'm saying? We're only humans here. If we don't fight for our survival with everything we have, no one is coming to save us. You have to learn how to fit in, she says quieter. You are part of a larger community, an ecosystem. You're supposed to be learning that, but you're running out of time. Soon you'll be an adult. People will need to rely on you. Oh, shut up, Mom. Your mom shakes her head. I don't know why I expected better from you, Yabby. You haven't given me any reason to. You don't know what it's like to be me. Your mom's gaze goes somber and distant. You're right, she says evenly. I don't. When I was just a little older than you are now, I was fighting a war against the people of Earth. First they ignored us, then they mocked us, then they attacked us. She pats her prosthetic leg, and then we won. All so we could give you the chance to grow up here. Don't disrespect me by wasting it. You're not going to come out ahead in this conversation. You stand up abruptly, mutter something about having to get to class, and storm out. I am just being a big rebel today. Alright, let's go on our first expedition. Let's get as far away from here as possible. We're out in the wilds. Hey, Yabby, Deese greets you cautiously as you pass on the narrow path. Hey, do you want me to show you something? Deese almost never makes overtures of friendship. Whatever it is must be pretty cool. Nod quietly and follow him. You follow him for nearly half an hour. A couple of times he stops to listen for something, then continues onwards, tromping through the fields of broad-topped mush trees and swaying antler ferns. After a while, you start to wonder if he's just lost. You're about to say something about it when he holds his hand up for silence and directs you to crawl under a huge mushroom. On the other side, you have a view down to one of the perfectly round ponds. Taking up most of it is an enormous xeno, its legs deep underwater. It's a balneal, Dees tells you. They live in the swamps. You don't usually see them here. This is one seems totally at home. It dips its long neck and even longer mouth into the pond, sucking up water from the bottom and spewing it out of the spout at the back of its head. The spray of beautiful turquoise water sparkles in the sun. Tiny, colorful bird-like creatures dart around it, catching the tiny fish that come spraying out. Sit and watch quietly. You enjoy the pretty scene together. You've heard Chief Security Red is on the lookout for lookouts. That is, for kids to chill out on top of the walls all afternoon and count Xenos. Sounds way better than going to class. He gives you a once-over, eyes narrowed. All right, he says. Look over there, at the end of the field. What does that sign say? I refuse to play this game. Rhett looks pinched that you bothered him for nothing. Following orders saves lives, Yabby, he says. I had to learn that when I was your age. He turns away from you. You're lucky you haven't needed to yet, and I never will. Not in this run. Vertumnalia! Oh, the beans, the pixie beans. I didn't stop them this time. But you know what? I'm not gonna eat them either. I'm skipping it all. Vertumnalia games? Hello! What are you, a kid? No, thank you. Finally, it's time for a feast. The pixie beans are a hit. Your parents keep touting their many benefits. They grow well here, they're super nutritious, taste great, they're really versatile, and kids love their bright multicolored glow. Your rumbling stomach has made you grouchy. Your parents won't let you eat until they finally stop bragging about their dumb beans. You consider the options. Pixie bean soup, pixie bean salad, pixie bean chili, and even pixie bean aquafaba dessert. Everything glows in the evening twilight. You sullenly shove your pixie bean everything around on your stupid plate. You don't even want to eat them anymore. Stupid beans, stupid feast, stupid games, stupid everyone. Ugh! Every time someone turns to talk to you, especially about how great these beans are and how great your parents are for growing them, you just get more irritated. They're just beans. It's like they love beans more than they love you. You're probably just hungry. Maybe I am, but screw these stupid beans. Yeah, who says you have to eat a whole bunch of stupid glowing gimmick beans? They're not the boss of you. You get to decide what goes into your body. Your dad is amused, but your mom isn't so forgiving. Eat your food, Yabby, she says sternly. We worked hard to make this food for you. Did I ask? Your dad tries to calm the situation, but your mom slams her fist on the table. The noise makes everyone nearby stop talking and turn to stare at you. Eat your damn dinner, Yabby, she shouts. I'm sick of your attitude. No, you can't make me. Your mom stands up. Oh, I can't I? She threatens. Your dad finally gets a word in. Calm down, everyone, he says. Yabby doesn't have to eat anything they don't want to. He turns to you. There's not many options other than beans, kiddo. Just regular old soy rations. You'll never eat those stupid beans. You'll just eat stinky, boring soy rations until your parents figure out how to grow something else. That's their job. After dinner, everyone breaks off in the little groups to talk about or make music together as the sky darkens in the shortest night of the year. You're still feeling irritated by everything. Of course I am. I'm being a brat. But for once, being a brat is the right decision, because we know the pixie beans are bad. You find Dees sitting on a large, flat rock on a hilltop, eating a sandwich and looking totally at home far from the colony walls. Join him quietly. You sit down next to Dees and get out your own lunch, some soy cheese cubes and crackers from the cafeteria. You listen to the jungle sounds and think how nice it is to just be free and in the open, and not confined to a tiny box hurtling through space. Then, quite out of the blue, the rock you're both sitting on stands up and starts to walk down the hill. Oh, okay. You crouch and look over the edge of the rock. You're a couple meters off the ground, balancing on spindly legs like a spider's. 8, 10 of them, evenly spaced. You realize the rock also has a set of eyes at regular points, which you'd mistaken for shiny black pebbles embedded in the stone. One of them swivels up to stare at you. You gulp and try not to scream. Dees shakily gets to his feet, trying to keep his balance as the creature under you slowly scrambles forward. He grabs your hand to help you up. Try to be brave. You swallow hard and control your fear. Barely. Actually, this is biologically fascinating. You're too busy taking mental notes about this creature's anatomy and behavior to worry about your own safety. It totters along, using its long legs to pick its way through the bushes and uneven terrain. It must have had its legs curled up under its body earlier to perfectly camouflage itself as a rock. After a minute, the creature crouches down to look at something and the two of you jump off. You're impressed that Dees kept his cool, and you tell him so. Actually, he says, I was kind of freaking out inside. You laugh and say you were too. It's funny. Dees might suck with people, but is kind of a badass when it comes to non-people things. Oh, it's been a long month of being cooped up indoors while it poured rain, and everything got too muddy and gross to play outside. You and the other teens are in the lounge again, and everyone's getting a little antsy. Tangent and Cal are bickering about something, and Dees must be bored enough that he's letting Mars paint his fingernails. Anemone is trying to do a dance she learned from watching holovids, and she's failing miserably. Ah, here we go. I'm gonna go wild! I'm already a high in rebellion, it doesn't really matter. Spin the bottle. Everyone giggles nervously, but your more courageous voices prevail, and soon you're grabbing a bottle to spin to sort out partners. Your palm sweats as the bottle spins on your turn, spinning, spinning, spinning until it falls on Dees! Everyone hoots and hollers. Dees? But he looks completely unbothered. In fact, he looks excited. He unbuttons his shirt collar and slicks his hair back, giving you an exaggerated, eyebrow-wiggling, come-hither look that sends everyone into hysterics. What do? Give everyone a show. You wiggle over to Dees, matching his energy as you grab him and sweep him into a big, showy kiss. Everyone laughs and yells as you kiss for 15 whole seconds before letting him go. Dees collapses onto his position on the floor with a silly smile. Everyone keeps playing, but the bottle never lands on you again. Mars and Tangent both get each other on their turns, making Tango completely red, as both times Mars plants a chivalrous kiss right on her lips. Oh, yep, and stop with the pixie beans. They were bad. Look who was right, Mom. Another year, another glow. Ah, here we go. Should I go to the gates? Oh yeah, can I fight the thing this run? I think I can. I want that card. Fight bravely. I'm gonna be stupid. Be a hero. I just really want that card. Oh, I can push through. Let's do it. It's the end of the year. Why not? Yes! Yes! We got it! Feeling like a giant! Yabby, what happened? Are you hurt? Oh yeah, I got totally messed up. Now is not the time for joking. I'll do what I want. I'm a rebel. And severely damaged. Physically. And mentally. Alright, we have each reached age 14 and we have aged up, which means we are going to end here for now. We will do another episode soon, which will focus on teenagehood, and after that, one episode on adulthood, so look forward to those and more of us being extremely rebellious and mean. And also only hanging out with Dees, who I love so much. He was he wasn't my first pick for best friend, that was Mars, but he really did grow on me very quickly. And I am glad to be doing another run with him, even if it means we're going to be seeing some bad-ish endings. But we will go for a good ending, I think. I'll go back and I'll go for a good ending or two along the way. Probably one of the ones that I missed for Expeditions, and a few others. We'll try and get a happy ending with him too, just to see what that looks like. But for now, we will just continue on with getting the special endings. So until then, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. Remember to take care of yourself, rebel against everything, and have a good day.